This is Chris, the Idaho Painter, here on Paint Life TV. Today, I'm going to give you 3 tips that's going to help you make airless spraying a little more efficient and enjoyable. So stay tuned. First tip of the day is going to be using an airless hose whip when you're spraying with an airless sprayer. So your airless sprayer, when you buy one, it always typically comes with a 50-foot hose. The 50-foot hose, the end of it is always banded like that, and it's for safety reasons because it is a weak spot on the hose. When you attach your gun right there, if you don't have a hose whip, it's a lot stiffer. A hose itself, the airless hose, is typically way stiffer than a hose whip itself. Now here's a hose whip. This is a Paint Life hose whip. The hose whip itself is going to be a little bit smaller diameter. It is going to be a lot softer hose. This one is a cloth braided hose, making it softer. There is cloth braided whips and wire braided whips if you have to ground your paint. But a whip attached to your hose is going to make your gun a lot more flexible, a lot easier to maneuver, and you're not going to be fighting the hose. When you have your gun attached right here, this is not very flexible at all. The hose is very stiff. You're typically just fighting, and you're very frustrated dealing with that hose. If you've never used a hose whip, you don't know any different. When you put a hose whip on, believe me, you're going to be amazed, and you're going to wonder why you didn't have a hose whip on. I have a hose whip on every single sprayer I run. I use this style, and I use the Exit Flex style whip. It's a lot smaller in diameter and even more flexible, even though it's wire braided. That flexibility, the easiness to maneuver it is going to be less fatigue on your hands, less fatigue on your wrists, less fatigue on your elbows and shoulders. It's going to make the spraying experience a lot more enjoyable. There are 3-foot and 5-foot whips. This is a 5-foot. You can see because I'm 5 foot. That's a 5-foot whip. There are also 3-foot whips also. Put a whip on your hose. You'll thank me later. The next tip I want to give you is using a gun extension. Now you'll see me using gun extensions. I use them probably 99% of the time I spray. And the reason why I use a gun extension is I don't have to bend over to spray because my extension gives me more reach. It gives me more reach to the side. Both sides, I can reach a lot farther. On both sides, I can reach a lot higher, so less likely to have to get on a ladder. A gun extension is going to make the spraying experience a lot more pleasant for you, a lot more enjoyable. The less time you spend on ladders, the longer your career is actually going to be. When it comes to spraying a garage door, I can spray the garage door up and down. I don't have to bend over at all. When I'm up on an extension ladder, I typically use a 30-inch extension so I can reach out 30 inches farther, which means I don't have to move my ladder as much. I use gun extensions from 6-inch all the way up to 30-inch. I've been known to attach multiple extensions together to spray high ceilings, so you can use them in combination, but use a gun extension. The gun extension also, when you're actually cleaning your airless sprayer without an extension, when you pull the trigger, the paint has a tendency to just go everywhere. When you have a gun extension, it comes out in a nice soft stream, so it makes cleaning the airless sprayer a lot more pleasant and not a bad experience splattering paint everywhere. I can't say it enough. Use an extension. When I'm doing it, like I'm doing a big building right here, I typically would have a 30-inch gun extension on, and it's going to make my job a lot faster, a lot more pleasant. So the final tip of the day is using a cardboard shield holder. This is a Craft cardboard shield holder, and this is how you control overspray. Whenever you're spraying with an airless sprayer, overspray is always going to be an issue. Whether it's windy or not, whether you're trying to keep overspray off of the footings. They just use 30-inch shields right here. They're just throwaway shields. We use them over and over again. We rarely throw them away, actually. The Craft shield holder, the reason why I like it is it adjusts simply and easily. You just tap it on the ground, and it's the angle of it is going to adjust, and you can adjust the tension on that yourself. You don't have to take and use a thumb screw, a wing nut, and no tools to actually adjust it. The Craft cardboard shield holder, it's going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to airless spraying. I'll use it to control overspray whipping around a corner. I'll use it on corners. I'll use it to shield the gutters, soffits. I'll use it to shield the footings. If I'm spraying down here, don't want to get overspray on the footings. There's a lot of different scenarios you're going to be using a shield holder. Whatever you do. You should have one of these. If you ever invest in an airless sprayer, this goes right along with it. Don't ever spray without one. There is metal ones and there is cardboard ones. Now I used probably the first 5 years of my career, I would use a metal shield holder. And once again, like an extension, like a whip, the weight of it, using it all day long, a lot more fatigue, wrist fatigue, elbow fatigue, because of the weight of the metal and then the paint that builds up on it. And you have to continually wipe it off, clean it off. As soon as they get a little bit of paint on them, set it aside to dry out, put another one. Easy to switch on and off. Craft cardboard shield holder, extension, and a whip. 3 tips for you right here on Paint Life TV. So stay tuned for your 3-2 tips. 3-2? 3-2? 3, 2, 1.